So this is another one that's not really on the really talked about throughout the PDF. Use it a couple times, but it doesn't really go in depth with anything like that. We're going to look at Netexec today. It's going to be kind of like how I played around on Juice Shop. This time we're going to play around with Netexec. So the domain controller is sitting at 192.168.0.30. And this machine like right here, I believe is 192.168.0.186. So Netexec, it is already built into your student attack machine. You can download it with pip, or you can go to the GitHub and grab it, but it is already built into your student attack machine here. And to be able to get to it, we can type in Netexec, or we can type in NXC. Either one will work for us. Okay, we can also do a NXC, and then the command, whatever we want to use. If we hit enter here, we can see that we can use SSH, RDP, WMI, VNC, FTP, SMB, NFS, which this is a new one on here, LDAP, MSSQL, WinRM. Speaking about new, if you've ever used CraftMap Exec, Netexec is just a new version of that. The group that made CraftMap Exec kind of had like a little falling out, whether it should be paid for or not, and all these other things. And so the guys split up, and a group of them made Netexec and continue. That's the newest one, and they continue to update it as time goes on. So we can go ahead and we can try like something like NXC, SMB, and then just look at 192.168.0.30. Now this isn't your course, but like right here, just kind of looking through it. But we can look at this, and we can start to gather information about the domain controller itself. That's if the domain controller is actually up and running like right now. Yeah, it is. Wonder why I didn't pull anything back. Let's try it one more time. I know that's kind of I'm also wondering if it's still .30 also. I think I may have actually changed that IP address, which I did on the domain controller. So let's go ahead and we'll hop over in there, and we'll change that IP address back. And the reason that's changed is because I made it for for upcoming things that are going to happen here. So let's go ahead and we'll hop over into the domain controller here. Just trying to see which one I want to click on here. I believe it can actually be, I think we're actually already there. So if we go over to this domain controller here, all right, we do send a control delete at it. And I can just go ahead and log in with student123 exclamation point, just like what's in your courseware there. All right, what we can do here is we can go ahead and we can actually, right where I just was, that Ethernet, like right there. Actually, what we want to do is settings. And we just want to change this guy from, right now it's on internal network. I just want to bring him over to bridge. Say, okay, let's go ahead and start command PowerShell here. We'll go ahead and make sure that actually pulls the IP address. And it's on a static IP address like right now. So let me go ahead and head over to here and change that back into DHCP. Properties. There we go. Turn off address automatically. Okay. Then that should give me IP address. There we go, 0.30. So we'll pull the same one, so that makes our lives a lot easier. We'll hop back over to here, and we'll try that one more time. And we can see that actually gives us some information, right? It sees that it's a Windows Server 2022, and then that build number like right there. It's obviously 64-bit. We have the name of the domain controller, right? Server range is DC, and then the domain name also. We can also see if signing is true or false, and if SMB version 1 is used or not. Okay, so if signing was false, it would show up in red. Okay, what else we can do with this is we can do NXC, SMB, then we can do a capital L. And this will actually give us modules that we can utilize whenever we're low privileged or a domain user. So these different models that we can utilize, these different modules that we can utilize, these do a lot of different things, right? So we know that we have some things on here. So we can run through each one of these modules and try different things, right? We can try to maybe coerce it, right? Let's see here, these ones are all removed like right here. I don't know why they're all removed. I used to use those a lot. I guess I'm not going to be using at least those ones anymore. And DFS course is also removed too. That's sad. Okay. Well, hopefully they come out with something for coercing still. But we can check if it's vulnerable to like MS-17, if it has any GPPL logons. To be able to do that, what we do is attack M, like capital M. We also want to put in our username and password. And then we can call for a module attack M. Right, so we can say attack M, and we can do something like GPP auto logon. Auto logon isn't on here, but we can try it. We can see if we find anything with this. Right, And it does say that, hey, it found some things on here. It's searching the registry.xml for any type of GP auto login. We don't have anything, but we do see that we can read and write to these different areas, right? So if we can read and write to admin, just so you know, it's going to give us a pond. Okay, we can also change that too. We can actually locate netexec.conf. I believe it's netexec.conf, might be NXC. Let's try to locate netexec first. I used to know how to do it in crap map exec, but haven't had to do it in netexec yet. So it's in user bin netexec, it looks like. So we might be able to go into there and find that comp file, cd/user bin. I'm only going to spend about a minute on this. Netexec. It looks like netexec is actually not a folder in there. Do we have a star.conf file? Nope. Okay. I think it's a DC. I think that's a folder. Oh, yeah, home Cali. That's why. CD and DC. All right. If we could locate that comp file, then we could find it. Locate. Maybe it's nxc.conf. Might be something like that. Not netexec. There we go. So let's go ahead and we'll head over to this one like right here. I might have to change it all three. You might just have to change it one. I don't know. But let's go into a Sublime text for that guy like right there for nxc.conf. And we can actually change this pawn label to something like shell, right? Let me hit Control S, save that. We can try this again, that same command, see if we get shell or not. Just because, if you're doing like an actual penetration test, shell looks a little bit better than pond, right? And also it doesn't, and as you can see, that has now changed the shell. We can also change this like red. We can also change the color of it, things like that within that nxc.conf file. You can change what type of color it uses to say like, hey, what it's actually going to show up as everything. But these are just some different things that you can actually do on this guy, just so you know. So that's a little cool thing right there. All right, something else we could do is we can also do an SMB, we'll say tac help. We put in all that information and we'll do a tac help at the end here. And we can see that it can do a bunch of different things, right? We can set up commands, right? We can set up PowerShell commands. We could spider different shares and things like that. We can tell exactly what folder to spider, okay? So that'll just look through the shares and things like that. We could look for logged on users. We could enumerate the users group, different groups on it, enumerate computers, local groups, enumerate shares. Obviously, we just saw that. Interfaces. Right? We could also dump the SAM and LSA and NTDS. So if we were to do something like that, we could do like a tac SAM. And then there we go. Okay. So we say tac LSA. Right? We could do things like this. Okay. We could put those in a file, do a secrets dump. We could also go ahead and we can dump both those at the same exact time. We can say LSA, SAM, NTDS. We could do something like that, right? Oh, didn't like that at all. So we'll say yes. We'll say enter here. We'll say yes. There we go. So that's every single user on the domain, like right there, on that domain controller, right? So we can go ahead and we can try to crack those hashes wherever else we want to do. We can also pass the hash with this. We can just grab this hash like right here. And instead of using a password, we can say, hey, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do an NXC SMB 192.168.0.30 tac U administrator. Tac capital H for a hash, and we can put that hash in. Remember, we really want the NT side. Okay, as you can see, we get a shell. We can run a command as it. Who am I? Boom, there we go. Okay, so we ran a command, and that's just SMB, right? We looked through this, and there's a lot of different things you could do on here. All right, so we could also try maybe an RDP, and we also could put in a file of IP addresses too. So right now we're just looking at a single IP address because that's all that's on the machine, right? But if we're on a whole entire network and everything like that, we can also look at a file of IP addresses. To be able to do that, let's go ahead and echo 192.168.0.30. We'll echo that in like a live.txt or something, right? and then we can do an NXC SMB alive.txt. Okay, we can do that same exact thing, and we can do all those same commands. We can run them all on that using different modules. We can use hashes. We can use however you want to do it. We can also brute force with that with Netexec. So we say like NXC SMB. Then we can say, do we have a users file on here? Nope. We'll just say something like, let's see here, student, tech use student, and I don't know if even student 123 is actually in there. Let's go in cat or pass.txt file, like real quick, passwords.txt. Okay, cool. So we say NXC SMB tech use student, or let me do that live.txt like real quick. Live.txt, tech use student, tech p, passwords.txt, and this will go ahead, it'll look through each one, and it'll try to brute force it for you. Then there we go. We see that we have this like right here. Okay, so that one allows us to log in. Now, usually you just get that plus sign, especially on domain controller, unless you're an admin. Student is an administrator on there. If you went through the courseware, you would see, they can pretty much do whatever they want, and that's a lot of the exploits that we're using, things like that. But we can also look at LDAP, right? So we can do an NXC LDAP. We'll say for live.txt, right? Tech use student, tech p, student 123 exclamation point. And we can, with this, we can also do modules. So we do a tag L, we can list different modules, and then we can utilize tag M, right? So we can do a, DACL read, right? A DACL read. Okay, so we could list those different modules, select an option. Tag O, yeah, sure, let's try that. Let's try some of that. So for options, if it needs an option, it's going to be a tag O. Just so you know, our whole time. So tag M's always for the modules. The modules need an option. It's going to be a tag O. So there we go, okay? We're able to read the DACLs like right there, DACLs, okay? We can go ahead. We can list more modules. This thing's moving a little slow. I feel like I've been saying that more often than not. I also have like 4 VMs open like right now, though, so that's probably not helping out too much either. Right, we can look at ADCS. That's a big one like right there. That's something that we do learn about in the course like right there, is attacking certificate services. As we can see, it does have some type of PKI enrollment here, and it found the certificate name. All right. So we can go through a lot of different things here, right? And we can just keep running down this. What I did for the company that I worked for was I actually made a script that looks through all these different things, right? It could look through them null. It could look through them with actual, with a username, password, username and hash, anything like that, right? So you can go ahead and you can actually run that script. What I'll suggest is to create a Python script or Bash script that just looks through all these different things, right? It'll not only help you with scripting, you'll learn how to do it, but it'll also make enumeration, things like that, a lot faster. And if you have, if you actually have something on there, you can look through the different modules and everything like that, right? So SMB is probably the most used module. Okay, but we can also look at RDP. Now, some of these also do not have any modules with them. So if you do a tag L, you may not be able to list anything, such as an RDP. Okay, we say alive.txt. And we can just see, first off, does it even exist? Does it even, usually it will give us something there. All right. It doesn't look like it likes that RDP for live.txt like right there. Maybe RDP isn't turned on like right now. We could try WinRM. Or I may have crashed into domain controller. Nope, WinRM does work, guys. So we know that we can do different things, right? WinRM we can also run commands with. So we say attack X, who am I? Right, and that's Netexec. Netexec is a huge tool. Another big tool that you're going to be utilizing a lot is Impacket. Okay, so if we talk about an Impacket, and we hit tab twice, we can see there's a bunch of things we can do here, right? Now we don't need to use the Impacket command at the very beginning, all right? But a lot of these, you can just run on their own, such as if we want to do, we've already looked at SMB server and things like that within the course and stuff. But let's say we want to do like SMB execute, right? SMB exec, okay? So if we delete this whole thing right here, we can do Impacket SMB exec or just SMB exec. right? We hit enter there. We can see that we're able to use domain, username, password, and then at the target. Pretty much every single thing within Impacket is going to look like this. Okay, so we can say SMB exec, then we could do cyberrages.local, right, /student, students123 exclamation point, at the IP address 192.168.0.30. We can also do this with a hash too. So if you don't put in a password, you can actually do attack hashes. And this will want an LM and an NT hash. So I'll show you how to do that here in a second. So also we did that right. Let's go ahead and grab that hash again. And we'll look at how to do this with a hash like real quick. If I have to scroll up too far, then we'll just go ahead and we'll just run some stuff again here. Oh man, there we go. There's the SAM like right there. There's administrator hash. So we could grab the whole thing, but some tools only give you the NT hash, the NT side. So if we actually look at this, if we do administrator, and we say at that IP address, right? And then we go ahead and say attack hashes. Now it does want the LM NT hash. You can either do a bunch of zeros, okay, and make it the same amount as the NT hash, or you can just do a colon and then put that in there. Right, we can enter here, and now it did the hashes. Who am I? It might take a little minute. It might not even execute with that. All right, but we can also look at PS exec, right? Another part of Impact tool script, and we can run pretty same exact thing. This is what's up here. You know, this might take a minute, but this gives you kind of a nicer shell. If it decides to work, okay, cool. So who am I? There we go. So we're NT authority system on here. We can CD into C, DIR. It really, we can do whatever we want from here because we're NT authority system, right? So go ahead and exit off here. All right, it's going to remove that file for us and everything. Really nice. So that's going to be, Impacket. Along with Impacket, we can also do something called secrets dump. All right, so we can utilize secrets dump. Pretty much say that thing right there. And secrets dump is going to dump that, just like how we dump that SAM, NTDS, and LSA. It's going to do that for us. All right, secrets dump.py. There we go. All right, and there's everything that we want, like right there. There's all the users' hashes are going to be up here like a little bit, right? So we can take all these like right here. We take them all offline, try to crack them, and see how many passwords we can actually crack and everything like that. All right. So speak about cracking passwords. Let's go ahead and try to crack some. So we'll go ahead and we'll grab all these like right here. We'll try to crack some of these passwords here. Right down, it looks like to right about there. Not even that far. I went too far. Right about here. Actually looks like. Right. And we can also do a /user. It only grabs certain users that we want to grab. So you Control-Shift-C. We can copy those. And let me go ahead and get PowerShell up and running. And then we'll go ahead and we'll be able to view the whole thing. Display capture. There we go. And we'll put that up top. There we are. Okay, so now you can see my display capture here. So I go over to PowerShell. We'll go ahead and we'll CD to OneDrive, desktop, Hashcat again. Let me go ahead and do a notepad. We'll just do monitor_sec LLC hashes .text. Yes, we'll create a new file. We'll go ahead and copy all those over. We'll save that file with Control-S, exit out of here. Those run hashcat.exe. Then we'll say monitor_sec LLC hash.text. And then we'll go ahead and we'll throw a file into it, crackstation.txt. Let's go ahead and do attack O, attack M, or attack, M3, I think it is. Might be attack W. Attack R, rules, one rule to rule them all. Yeah, I messed up the attack M. I think it's just attack W3 or something like that. It'll tell me here in a second. It'll say less than what you expected. It'll give me a little thing. Try this to run it better. All right, so we could also try to crack these with Hashcat over here, or we could use John the Ripper or whatever else. Hashcat obviously utilizes GPU. We can also throw those rules into there with the one rule them all. That's just the GitHub rule script that you can download. Whatever else, crackstation.txt is also on crackstation.net. You can run that there. Okay, and yeah, it should. So as we can see, we're utilizing 2 different Radeon graphics cards. I have 2 sitting in here. All right, and then it went ahead and skipped the processor here. But we're running on both those graphics cards, like right there. It'll go ahead and it'll try these different things. All right, attempted auto detect hash mode. Okay, yep. So it found the correct hash mode and everything like that. Right, the newest version of Hashcat does auto detect hash modes. All right, it's still building a dictionary for CrackStation. It's a pretty big dictionary, like right there. So let's do its thing. We'll go ahead and we'll head back over to here. And that's about it for Impacket and Netexec and everything like that. Netexec is going to be a huge tool when looking at Active Directory domains. Highly suggest you learn how to use it. Use it as much as possible. Do as much of it as you can with it. You can run Bloodhound with it. You can, like I said, you can dump the salmon LSA data with it. You can run commands. You can get callbacks and everything like that with it. So it's a pretty great tool to be able to use. Impacket is more when you actually become an administrator or something like that, and you start dropping down different things on there. Attack W3, that's what it is, like right there. So we can go ahead and we can Control C this, and we can just do attack W3. And as you can see, we have already started cracking some hashes here. So once you start cracking those hashes, we'll be able to do different things with that. Don't know if I said this before the class, but if you ever see 31D6C, that means that there is no password because the user is disabled. So that will not work. All right, so if you ever see that for an administrator, that means that the administrator is disabled. So that hash is not going to work. You're not going to be able to do anything with it. Thank you everyone for watching. I'll talk to you all later.